Hello, everyone. I am Marie LaBrasse, and I'm bringing you here today for Sleuthing Eye-Opening Tales of the Past. And the past is a special guest that I'm having on today because she's moving into 2021 in a new world of life. And I hope you're going to travel with us with a solo travel girl, best blogger I know, Miss Jennifer Huber. And hello, Jennifer.
Hello, Marie, and hello, all the viewers and listeners. How are you?
Uh, really good. And 2020 in all the world, not just here, not just in our rooms, in the world, has been a regular screwed up year. And I wanted to talk to you before we go into any of the other details. What's been 2020 been like for you?
Well, it started off with some optimism because it's another decade. Of course, that's up for debate. Is 2020 the beginning of a new decade or is 2021? Anyway, started off with a lot of optimism. I actually set 20 goals up for myself to accomplish, which does seem aggressive. And I had those post-it notes with each goal up on my bedroom door. Things are chugging along. In February, I am a political nut, so to say, and I attended the Iowa caucus. I went to Des Moines, Iowa, and for the weekend, I got to see just about every presidential candidate except for one of the Republican, Joe Walsh. I didn't get to see him, but I got to see all the other Democratic candidates and then another Republican candidate. And one of my goals was to have my picture taken with a presidential candidate for this year. So I got to meet Tom Steyer and Elizabeth Warren, but Mayor Pete, he's who I was jiving for. So I actually got my a selfie with him. But that was quite the experience to see how the political process works and see how it works in Iowa because it's much different than in Florida. Yeah, the caucus system, we could have a whole other conversation, other show about that. But that was actually really thrilling. It was actually cold as well. I am from Buffalo. However, I've been down in Florida for about 2 decades, and it was chilly in Iowa, but it was fun. And then we're moving, then there was some talk about this virus. And I remember talking about it in the office. There was rumors that it was tied to a bat or something. And then March came along, and then all of a sudden, I and my colleagues were working from home. At the time, I was working for the Charlotte County Tourism Office, and yeah, working from home, but just finding my jam. My dog loved that I was working from home. I was actually more productive, more focused, but it was very mentally draining. Um, so I've had some ups and downs throughout the year, and come this summer, I put my nose down and I decided to finally publish a book. It came out of some blog posts from mid 2000 or 2012, 2013. I participated in the A to Z blog challenge. I am a travel blogger. And basically, what the A to Z blog challenge is the month of April. Each day of the week, starting with April 1st, everyone blogs about something that starts with the letter A. And then April 2nd, it starts with the letter B, and so on. So at that time, I did traits of solo travelers, A to Z of a solo travel girl, so to say. And the result is A to Z of a solo travel girl, traits of women who travel alone, not lonely. And that is my book. And I love the design. I know viewers at home cannot see this, but for all of you watching, the cover includes a image that I took in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam in 2016. And the way that I landed in Vietnam, it's always been on my bucket list. And I actually won a trip anywhere in the world that Turkish Airlines flies to. And I decided I was going to go to Vietnam because it's it takes a long time. It took me 24 hours to get there. However, I was able to find affordable accommodations. I stayed in Asian accommodations versus Western accommodations, which there really isn't much difference, just kind of the neighborhood and maybe the breakfast they serve you. But then I took all sorts of scheduled tours. I took 2 food tours. One was on the back of a motorbike. And I think it's 7 to 10 million motorbikes in Ho Chi Minh City. And when you cross the street there, they don't stop for you. You just have to slowly walk across the street, and the motorbikes are going around you. And it is thrilling. It's an exhilaration rush. And the first time that I did it, a woman actually helped me. And I read about this, that the locals, they want to take care of the visitors. And she saw that I was kind of hesitant. So what this woman did, she got between me and the oncoming traffic. And then when we reached the yellow line, she got on the other side of me to kind of protect me. But once I was able to become comfortable with that, it was easy peasy until my last night and I got hit by a motorbike. But I guess that could be a whole other story. You know, maybe I was a little bit cocky or something, but I was crossing a side street and I was looking one way and this motorbike came down the wrong way. And basically he ran over my foot and hit my shin and he kept on going. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, I started laughing, but because I'm like, okay, of course I would get hit by a motorbike. But I wasn't bleeding. He didn't knock me down or anything. And I was like, well, what do I do? I'm like, well, I guess I'm not so bad. And I just found some ice and iced it up. And I was worried about blood clots for flying out the next day. But I do travel with compression socks, which really help out during travel to avoid the swelling in your legs or ankles, and just with the circulation as well, especially if you're going to be sitting for long periods of time. So anyway, so my book, I did use that photo from Vietnam because it was such an important experience for me. And for those of you who are listening, it contains different colorful lanterns in the foreground, like reds and blues and yellows. And in the background, you see at least one of the couple folks on the motorbikes back there. And none of those are the ones who hit me. But anyway. So that was 2012. And what this book is, these traits, there's over 60 words that basically describe a solo travel girl, a woman. It could even be a man. And basically most of them are positive words. And when I got thinking about it and all the bad stuff that was happening, a lot of friends getting sick, people dying, businesses shutting down, you know, the economy, just my heart just ached for everyone, especially being in the tourism industry. April was really, really a bad year economically. And this book is just full of so many positive words that I decided to focus on myself and really think of these words as me. I guess I'm my worst critic, and maybe we're all don't realize our potential in that. But I just put my nose down and really began believing that, yes, I am bold, I am brave. You know, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this life that I have, even though it's not perfect. I still am grateful for that. And also something that I did was a photo shoot. And I did include a couple of those headshots in my book. Some of those photos will not be seen in public, but I did a luxury boudoir photo shoot by Rebel Robinson's studio in Sarasota. And I did it for myself. And that had to be one of the most empowering things. Being able to travel alone is empowering in itself. However, this was a whole new perspective. It was looking at myself differently. It was a comfortable experience, and the images, the results are they're me wearing makeup and maybe fancy clothing and that, but it's the way that I think I look on the inside. And the photographer Melissa Robinson was able to show me how the rest of the world sees me. So that was just a big empowering experience as well. Also, she found my photo with Mayor Pete. Yes, for those of you at home. And that was actually, I had to get up, I think at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to get that photo with Mayor Pete. And it was an NPR radio show. They do it at this coffee shop in Des Moines, and it's a tradition during the Iowa caucus time. And he went and gave his interview. And what had happened is I went to the bathroom. I came out. He's coming into the interview. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to hang out here. He went and gave his interview. He came back, and then some people were grilling him about his policies about Puerto Rico, and just watching him, I saw him speak the night before, and when his campaign manager was brilliant and just rallying people together, but the way that he answered, and this woman was just really trying to poke at him and try to agitate him, but he was just cool and just very direct and polite and firm. Definitely a leader. So anyway, so he went to turn to leave, and I said, Mayor Pete, can I get a selfie with you? And he's like, sure. So that's my selfie, and I'm very proud of that that photo with him.
Well, as you're talking about that, I'm on your Facebook page, so I know there are other pictures. You were talking about the ones that you, and as we're going through here, I'm going to flip through some of your pictures because, tell me about this one.
Okay, so for those of you at home listening, it was Halloween this year. I had a social distance Halloween, actually with a couple names from the station. For those of you who don't know, a couple of years ago, I used to have an award-winning show on KDW. It was called Solo Travel Girls Adventures Near and Far. So I did host a weekly half-hour travel show. And I do keep in touch with RJ Malloy, the station manager, and then also with Kim, who has the show Facets, Kim Galloway. So we decided to go out to the Bean Depot that night, and I'm not really one who gets up dressed up a lot. I haven't done it in a while. So I just went to Spirit Halloween, and I guess I just let the spirit guide me as to what to be.
It's beautiful.
So I was an alien. I don't know if you could tell, but there's like a third eye in my forehead, and found some little antennas and green hairspray, and it was fun dressing up. So but the other photo, the one in the dress, the polka dot, the selfie, that's my dog sitting in the letterbox. Yes.
Okay, I'll take it.
That's something I did last year. That was I participated in the FBI Citizens Academy up in Tampa. What they do, they invite professionals within the community to come in and basically learn about the FBI. It could vary between a 6 to 8 week program. It's once a week. I had to go to Tampa every week for 8 weeks. And this was our graduation night, and I was excited. I was honored. I got to lead the graduating group in the Pledge of Allegiance. So I was a little nervous because all eyes are going to be on me. So I made sure I found a nice, my gemstone flag pin, my American flag pin, which I bring out for special occasions, and I have another one for daily use, so to say. And it was interesting because the community manager, she asked, the person who was coordinating this with the FBI, she asked me if I knew the Pledge of Allegiance. And I thought, oh my gosh, well, of course I do. Why wouldn't I? And then she said that someone had volunteered in a previous class and he didn't know it. And he couldn't, he had problems memorizing it. So she said, look, all you need to remember is the first line, because once you say it, everyone else is going to recite it with you. So the night of our graduation, we had it up at the Port of Tampa, so you could bring guests in that, and then the special agent in charge of the Tampa Bureau, he's leading it, and other FBI agents are there, people that we went through the program with. And so Carol, the community manager, she's like, all right, do you know the Pledge of Allegiance? And I said, yes, our Father and art in heaven. So I got to give her, I was just poking around with her. I was just joking with her. Of course, I knew the Pledge of Allegiance. So I was very proud of that moment. I was proud to be part of the program because they don't necessarily let everyone in. And there's about 25 people in there, and it's just a great opportunity. It's a free opportunity. You do need to go through a background check, fingerprints and all, and I had to list every place that I had visited, and then I'd give a time frame on that. So I had about 3 places of different countries that I visited in my lifetime. Luckily, I didn't travel much other than Canada when I was growing up. So I really didn't start traveling internationally until I was in my late 20s. So anyway, but also part of that program, we got to go to Washington, D.C. and go to the FBI headquarters. And that was very fascinating. We did have, you have to pay for your travel, obviously, in your hotel there, but it's just fascinating. We went to Quantico with the FBI trains, and we went down to the I forgot the name of the I think it's Hogan's Alley where they train. It's the most dangerous city in America because that's where the FBI does training, and so they have like a mock bank, they have a mock hotel, so they can reenact all these scenarios, a radio station, a movie theater. So it was quite fascinating going there and seeing how that works, and then touring the headquarters. Obviously, there were places that we couldn't go because those are restricted, but it's just really just fascinating being part of it and just understanding how that works and understanding the people who work for the organization and what they go through. And then there's a museum, FBI museum, which is actually open to the public. However, you need to like contact your congressman, your representative to make reservations so you can go in there. And something else that I did this year, actually, I just finished it up. I binge watched The Americans. I don't know if you've watched that TV show. The Americans is basically about these Russian spies who were in America for several years, and they would be different characters. Well, it was actually based on a real situation from the 1990s or the 2000s, but the TV show is based on the 70s and 80s because happening in the 2000s, it's not the Cold War with Russia. So anyway, in the FBI museum, they do have the passports of those Russian spies who were impersonating, who they pretended to be Americans. And then they had like a painting, and they would say, okay, go find where the camera hole is. And you're looking at this painting, you're having no idea. Well, there's like a pin-size hole where they could actually put a camera, or maybe purses or something. So it just really interesting. Gives you a different perspective on the world. So yes, Wendy Beth Nemec is saying, love The Americans per my recommendation. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it. I loved it too. Obviously, because I'm talking about it and still enjoy it. So anyway, so the rest of 2020, wow, I guess it's just been, I was also the president of the Florida Outdoor Writers Association this year. And for 2021, I will be the president again, just because, 2020 is, it's 2020, what can we say? And it's not going to be 2021 is not going to be a repeat or a redo. It's all about moving forward. So I am excited. And the Florida Outdoor Writers Association, we represent outdoor communicators, radio show hosts, podcasters, writers, photographers, illustrators, anyone in outdoor communications who share information about Florida. That's who we are. And of course, we have our fantastic partners, the different destinations in Florida or different brands, organizations like the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, Coastal Conservation Association of Florida. And then I got a new job. Yesterday, December 30th, was actually my last day with the Punta Gorda Englewood Beach Visitor and Convention Bureau. I've been there over 12 and a half years, and it's been quite an honor doing that. But it's time to find other opportunities to personally and professionally grow. So that's where we are today. And I know I'm going to tease you, and I'm going to let the company make the announcement next week. But I can tell you that they love Florida just as much and maybe more than I do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to talk about one of the things that you've done every year. Well, every time there's a presidential election that I've known you. And one of the things is you get to go to the White House for the inauguration ceremony. And this year you're not because of all the protocols going on. So tell us a little bit about your experience there.
Sure. Yeah. In 2007, I became, I guess, more politically aware, and I started attending presidential rallies, and I attended both parties because I wanted to see both sides. And I started off maybe like little gatherings and then attending the bigger rallies. So 2008, you had Hillary was in the primary, so I got to see Hillary Clinton in Orlando. I tried to see Sarah Palin in Fort Myers. I even had the tickets because I said, get your tickets. So me and my coworker, we thought that meant that if you had tickets, that meant that you can get inside. No, it doesn't. We ended up driving down the Fort Myers, and the line was just crazy out of what's now called Hertz Arena. Um, so anyway, so I did get to see. I learned that you really need to get there early. You don't need a ticket when you're going to events. So when Sarah Palin came back to the area, she was up in Tampa. I remember getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, driving up to Tampa, standing in line at 7:30 in the morning with all these thousands of other people who were there earlier than I was, wondering if I'm going to get in. But I actually ended up getting in, and I got to shake her hand, got her photo, and actually got her autograph. I did find a ticket. I didn't have a ticket going up there, but someone gave me a ticket. Not that I needed it, but I do collect autographs and political memorabilia as well. And I'm looking at it right now because it's on my wall. But I have a rally ticket signed by Sarah Palin, her then husband, also signed by Sean Hannity. At the time, I think Charlie Crist, that's when he was a Republican, he signed it as well. And then some other signatures on there. The gal used to be Elizabeth Hasselbeck. She was there as well. So I did have front row. But then, and I got to see Obama in Fort Lauderdale. And so when Obama won the election in 2008, it was election night. And I'm like, well, wait, who gets to go to the inauguration? And really, anyone can go to an inauguration. You don't need to be anyone special. You don't need to know anyone. However, it helps if you know someone. So anyone can go. However, if you want to have maybe closer seats to the actual ceremony, contact your representative, contact your senator. Obviously, if it's if you donate more to that person, you're probably going to get better seats. However, I ended up going with a person I had met on a trip to Afghanistan. I know that sounds like a weird thing. I went on vacation to Afghanistan in 2006 with a group called Global Exchange. And there were, I think, 12 or 13 of us on that group. None of us knew each other, but 4 of us women, we ended up we all shared the same bedroom during that 10-day trip. So we really got to know each other. Plus, we were sharing one bathroom for, I think, 10 people were sharing one bathroom. And that's a whole other, actually, I think that's in the archives of Solo Travel Girls Adventure somewhere about that Afghanistan trip. However, I always kept in touch with Cordelia. And she's gone to inaugurations before. She's worked for presidential candidates before, so she really knew how to maneuver the system, so to say. So we actually got some tickets. It was into a standing area to watch the inauguration, but before that, there's all sorts of festivities and events going on. There's I remember New York State had a party going on, and Hillary Clinton spoke, and then the mayor governor there, and I'm a foodie, so I was fascinated with the food. So they had buffalo chicken wings, they had Coney Island hot dogs, and they had all sorts of food representative of New York, and it took place at the Smithsonian Castle. And if you're familiar with that, that's where the headquarters of the Smithsonian is, and it's just this beautiful, gorgeous architectural building right off the square in Washington. And then there was this big concert at Lincoln Memorial. I mean, I remember that U2 was there, and just all these A-list celebrities and that. And then Cordelia was able to get us tickets for for one of the galas. And at that time in 2009, I think there were 7 galas because they broke up the United States into different areas. So there were 7 different galas. But before that, backing up, we went to the inauguration. That was just quite an experience. And I guess fast forward to Trump's inauguration, not being mean here, but I can verify there were definitely more people at Obama's inauguration than were at Trump's inauguration. However, it was very cold, but it was just an amazing experience. It was a lot of feeling of hope and change at that time of 2009. But then later that night, we got changed in our ball gowns to attend the gala. And I think the ticket was, I think it was $75, either $75 or $125. And I just remember there's a line getting in because there's security and just wild, packed with people. But then I was thinking there's going to be like fancy food or something. And there's like bowls of potato chips and pretzels and peanuts and stuff like that. And then there's a cash bar, but you have to go stand in line to buy tickets for the ticket bar, I guess it is. Then you have to go stand in another line, and if there really weren't enough chairs going around or tables to sit at, and so it was interesting. But each gala has like a named band performing, and at our at this one it was the Dead, as in the Grateful Dead. So I'm standing there listening, enjoying the music, and this man comes up next to me, and we both look at each other and we say hello, acknowledge each other. And then I'm like, the guy kind of looks familiar. And then someone came up to me and said, that was Al Franken. And if you remember back then in 2009, at the time of the inauguration, the race was so tight with him. They didn't know whether he was going to be senator or not because it was so tight, but it was interesting seeing him there. And there were a lot of other celebrities at that gala because it was New York. It was the Mid-Atlantic gala, I think. It was a gala that included New York State because that's who Cordelia's connections were. So 2000, fast forward to the next Obama inauguration. It was a little bit different because the economy was not so well. So they only had 2 inaugurations. They had one inauguration for everyone, and then they have like a military inauguration for members of the military. So it was a little bit scaled down, but there was still some A-list celebrities. I remember seeing like Stevie Wonder performing, Jennifer Hudson, just amazing. And then I did attend President Trump's inauguration, and I did get tickets. I wasn't planning on getting tickets, but someone gave me their tickets, and I actually had better vantage point than I did during Obama's inauguration. But I did not attend the ball. I just wasn't interested in that, and that's fine. But it was very neat because I actually got to see the parade, and I got to see Vice President Pence get out of the limousine and wave to people and shake some hands and stuff. So that was just a fascinating experience. But again, anyone can go, and there's plenty of activities that go on. The night before Trump's inauguration, I remember like this big country concert and big festivities at the Lincoln Memorial. I believe he was there and his kids were there, and they came out and spoke. And it's just this really great feeling of being an American. You're so proud being an American then, and all sorts of people are there. It's just a great experience. So I'm waiting for, I'm not going to be able to go to the inauguration this time, but there'll be other opportunities. So I'm trying to figure out how can I celebrate without going.
Well, we could always drink a glass of champagne on a StreamYard. We can actually do something
yes,
and we can actually, be playing it in the background, and we can be talking over it. We can figure out something, Jan.
We can make some food from Delaware. We know Biden likes ice cream, so that's an easy one.
Eating different ice creams and testing them out and testing them. Jen, I wanted to talk to you about Solo Travel Girl because you're a single woman traveling solo. Now, I'm an older person. What kind of precautions do you take when you're traveling by yourself?
Well, it's funny that you say you're an older person because I consider myself an older person now too.
Well, I'm 20 years older. Okay.
But I guess I say that, and I don't know if I'm being a 50-year-old me talking to my 30-year-old me is, think of things differently. I think you have a certain confidence when you're older and maybe air. So before I went to Afghanistan, I talked to a former Navy SEAL who was a contractor, and he had just got back from private security detail in Afghanistan. And something that he told me back in 2006 always stuck with me is always keep your head on a swivel. So it's no matter where you are, keep aware of your surroundings and don't take a situation for granted. Something might seem safe, but it might not necessarily be safe. For Afghanistan, he would give the example of kids are going to be wanting to come up to you and they're going to have their hands out. Well, you might want to have some candy or just even some pennies or something to give to them, because if you're there for extended period of time and if something is going to be off, those kids are going to alert you, or someone's going to alert you. Now, most of us are not in those situations where we have to worry about. He asked me, well, if we're at a market, what happens if a bomb goes off? I'm like, I don't know. So he basically said, flag down a taxi driver and then have that driver take you to the U.S. Embassy, and then the Marines will take care of you from there. Now, all of us don't have that those situations, but it is having a plan. Always have an exit strategy, no matter where you're going, whether you think it is safe, but weird things happen. Always when I'm in whether a movie theater or visiting a new museum or something, I am looking for an exit. I'm just keeping aware of my surroundings. I've been using social media for quite a while, and I've learned over the years, maybe don't post right away as to where you are, especially with hotels. I've had friends who do that. Maybe they post at a restaurant and someone would, hey, Pooja, and someone would perhaps call the restaurant. They called the restaurant asking for this person and just kind of harassing them. So that was a really strange experience that she had. So if you are using social media, post after you check out of a hotel, post after you leave a restaurant or an attraction. Watch your alcohol. I mean, I know being part of a city or a destination, alcohol might be part of the culture, like in Germany. My sister and I, we had the fantastic opportunity to take a Viking River cruise and through the Christmas markets in Germany. And that was just an amazing, amazing experience. And we drank glue wine everywhere we went, the mulled wine. And we just kind of limited that, because when you're in a strange country, you don't want to be making yourself vulnerable. Or not that I go to bars when I travel alone, but I know some people do like to go to bars or something, and they think that they can experience the culture that way. But I do watch what I drink and what I consume. So that's another way, watch your alcohol content when you are traveling, and watch your drinks too, because I don't know, we might think that we're older and maybe we wouldn't be targets, but there are still people. I like to think the good in people, but sometimes people do have bad intentions. So you want to make sure people aren't putting something weird in your drinks as well.
Yeah. Talking about that, have you had any experience? Have you been a target?
I had a weird situation when I was in Berlin last year. I went to an absinthe tasting, and absinthe is not legally sold in the United States or in the US. But before the event, I was wasting time. I was taking in I had a lot of time to pass. I got there too early, and I was going down this alley, not an alley, but this side street. And I noticed these two guys started following me, and it was just kind of creepy. And then I would well, they really follow me. So I would stop at like a window and look in the window, and then they would stop. And then I just continued on, and then I got to like a doorway where there was someone standing there, like a bouncer or someone. And the two guys, they said something to me, and I'm just like, no, go away. Like, I don't even know what they said. And I just got freaked out, and I just ducked into the bar or something just so they would go away. I've been fortunate. I mean, I have put myself in situations I probably shouldn't have put my situation in, but I've been fortunate that I haven't had anything bad happen to me. When I was in Rio with my sister, we kind of had a weird experience with a bellman. I think it was maybe a language barrier, because we don't speak Portuguese, and I don't think he spoke English, but he ended up following us to our room. and he wouldn't go away. And yeah, so that was weird. But yeah, thankfully, I guess I don't want to say it's luck, but I think I've been aware and I put myself in situations that have been safe and decent.
Now, when you are traveling, is there do you have like even a code word in case you were to call somebody? Because you're traveling by yourself. Do you have any backup plan like that?
No, I do leave itineraries and itinerary to my mom, who knows where I am, and check in with family and stuff. But I probably should do a better, better do a job of that. But yeah, you're right. Or there's like email phishing scams if someone is traveling abroad, and if you're using a free Wi-Fi network somewhere, they somehow get into your email system. And then I don't know if you've received them, but I've received them from people saying, "Hi, I'm stuck in London. Can you um,
Send me money.
send me money or something?" And it's actually someone got in because it was through the Wi-Fi, the free Wi-Fi over there, and getting in. So there's ways that you can use certain countries. If you remember, was it when the Olympics were in Russia? They told everyone to scrub their phones when they came back, just because they put bugs in them. The Russians were to track and monitor and things like that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing because we take so much for granted here in the US that we really don't think about those things. But when you're traveling, even when I've been to Europe, I was not used to when I was in Greece and Athens and also Istanbul, Athens especially, you had what street children
Oh
and they
yeah.
had showers set up, and we weren't used to seeing, um, and I think they called them gypsies too at that point, but we weren't used to that. I haven't seen that here in the US. You'll see people on the street corners, asking or selling flowers or asking for money here, but I've never seen children. And that took me aback. It really did. And
Yeah,
I want to
definitely.
say hi
Yeah.
to Teresa Mirtha. Hey,
Hey,
happy New Year.
Teresa.
Happy
Yep.
New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, and then like safety, you use the in-room safes, to put your passport in. Um, have a copy of your passport with you. I learned that in Germany. I ended up getting a ticket on the train because I double stamped my ticket on the with the S-Bahn, and because there were two different stamp stations there, and so I stuck the receipt in both. I'm like, okay, so this is like a three-dimensional one, and this is an ink stamp. So I stuck my ticket in there. They had a conductor hop on, or whatever they call them, and she looked at my ticket and she questioned what I was doing there and blah blah blah. And so anyway, she took my pass away, my train pass, and gave me a ticket and a fine. And I went to go pay the fine, and they said no, I have to wait till it comes in the mail. So I'm like, well, how does that work? In the U.S. Um, so when I got back home, I'm waiting for this fine to arrive. It never arrived, and then maybe 2 months later, I got a notice from an attorney, a collections attorney in Berlin, saying that my fine was past due. Well, but they didn't put enough postage on it to get to the United States, and I thought it was a scam. But when I got doing some research, it was a common thing that the German train system does over there for
oh,
Americans. So
oh,
it was a legitimate fine. So I had to actually do a wire transfer. So it was an expensive trip.
oh,
It was
that's
140 bucks, I think, was the
really because
penalty
you
and the
didn't have
fine.
your passport with you, a copy.
Well, I don't know. Well, she asked for my passport. I'm like, it's in my hotel room. I don't have it with me. And yeah, because it was because I double stamped my ticket rather than stamping it once. I stamped it twice, and then I didn't have my proof of identity with me. Yeah, so
That's insane. That is. That's crazy, isn't it?
it is
It's,
weird. Yes,
it's really well, and
it's still a great country. And Berlin's
yeah,
a great city. Yeah,
yeah, I've been to Germany too, and it
yeah.
is. I was in Germany during Oktoberfest. I
Oh
was there
my gosh.
for one day, but we went to one of the markets, and one of the things that I really found interesting is here in the US, if we smoke, we have smokers and that. But in over there, they had the teepees of wood and like coal type underneath, and the fish are piked and sitting there smoking along the ground. And I
Um,
go, well, that's how they used to smoke. I guess. I don't know. They still smoke like that, but I was really fascinated about the different things. And I'm not much of a drinker. You probably, anybody that's watching knows that I'm really not much of a drinker, but I did drink beer when I was over there because how could you not have German beer?
oh, exactly.
Oh, here's another thing too. When you're traveling in Europe, and I don't know, I've never been to Asia, so I don't know how that is, but ice. Us Americans are so tied into ice. We were begging. I had my sister with me, and there were some other ladies, and we were begging in England and in Italy, please, will you bring us ice? Please
Yep.
bring us some ice. I don't care what we're drinking. It wasn't. We just want ice. What do you find?
Yeah, pretty much. And when you talk about Asia, um, I guess you want to be careful. Obviously, Japan, you're going to be okay with any ice that they bring you. But in Vietnam, what I learned on the food tours were obviously you don't want to be drinking a lot of that water or eating a lot of the fresh vegetables from certain places. You want to make sure if they're making ice, that they're making ice from bottled water. Um, or like Mexico, the same situation. But yeah, ice isn't necessarily common all throughout the world like it is. I think maybe Americans were addicted to ice. I don't know if you can hear it in here. I got ice in my cup, but yeah.
And that's something a lot of people, if you have not traveled outside the US, and Canada has ice too, but if
Yeah.
you travel outside our area here, ice, it's like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that you're begging for ice. And we take it for granted. Our refrigerators have the ice coming out, and so let's go on to a couple of other things too, because with the solo travel girl, you not only travel like that, but you do a lot of things in the area, and you go alligator wrestling. No, I don't know. Have you wrestled an alligator in your travels?
Yeah. At Gatorland in Orlando, they have the opportunity to they call it gator wrestling, and basically they show you the proper way to hold an alligator and sit on top of it. And that was yeah, I got to do, I don't know, 15-foot alligator, and it was a bit intimidating. And actually when you I don't recommend you going out and finding an alligator to test this on. Please do this in a controlled setting. But when you hold the alligator a certain way, they can't move their jaw down. So it's kind of safe when it's clamped together. When you're on top of an alligator, it's a weird sensation because you can feel them breathing underneath you, and they're expanding and exhaling right beneath you, which is a very
We're
you have more, it's weird, but you have more respect for the animal. And then Gatorama, in Palmdale, which is closer to us, they have amazing experience where you can actually hatch alligators in your hand. They have alligator hatching season, like the end of August, beginning of September, and I've done that a couple times. Patty, she's going to be retiring soon. But Patty and her husband, they've been running it and been owning it, and it's an amazing experience because you get to hold this egg and you can hear the little alligator chirping inside, and then it claws its way out. Then you help them out, and you're just holding this baby alligator. And I mean, to think about the alligator is looking at you. You're the first thing the alligator sees, so it's quite a powerful thing. So I'm an alligator mama too. So I wrestled alligators and I'm an alligator mama. But something I recently did, there's the Mayaka Elephant Sanctuary in Mayaka City up in Manatee County, and it's relatively new, but I got to partake in a spa morning with an elephant. I got to help wash a couple elephants there. Lou is an African elephant, and then Carol is an Asian elephant. And it's quite an amazing experience. I learned that elephants are under the jurisdiction of the USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, and by regulation, I guess you would say, they need to be washed at least once a day because it's important for elephants to have that hydration and moisturization inside on their skin to keep them dry, or keep them hydrated, I should say. But afterwards, yeah, if you go on my blog or my Facebook page, I have a picture of me hugging an elephant. It's her trunk. She was such a sweet girl, Lou the elephant. But yeah, there's so many great opportunities here.
And I'm looking for that on your Facebook page, but it's also on your travel blog one.
Yes, actually, if you go to my Instagram, this is Solo Travel Girl Instagram. The picture is me hugging, but yeah, on solotravelgirl.com. And you're right, on my Facebook right now is the video of me rinsing down one of the elephants.
Oh, really? Well, I can bring that up, Jen.
Oh,
Oh, that I can do that.
she has that technology.
I
So
have technology. We're already at 45 minutes
I
too.
know
I know it goes by so fast,
it
doesn't it?
does go fast.
And uh, you were with the county for 12 and a half years. Wow. Tell everybody what you did even before that, because you were with the national park, weren't you?
Yeah, I like to say a hiking trail led me down a career path in the tourism industry. For 10 years, I worked for a park management company in Yellowstone, Death Valley, and the Everglades. So I started out in the kitchen in Yellowstone, my first summer there, and I worked hard, but I also play hard and hiked hard and just got to explore and fell in love with Yellowstone. Um, and I went back there for several seasons. Worked around the park. For those of you familiar with the park, I started off at the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. The next year, I worked at the front desk there. And when I got into doing customer service training and computer training, I have worked at all the locations in the park, from Mammoth Hot Springs to Old Faithful, the Old Faithful Inn, Old Faithful Lodge. Did a little time at Roosevelt, which is a lot of fun. It's cowboy country out there, so to say, the cookouts. I did meet a man there, and we ended up going down to the Everglades. That's where he spent his winters. I spent one winter up in Yellowstone. It was fantastic. Yellowstone in the winter is a totally different park and experience than in the summertime. But then down in the Everglades at Flamingo Lodge, totally other experience. Learned about saltwater fishing and biking, and learned about crocodiles and alligators and roseate spoonbills. And then we end up going out to Death Valley National Park and spent a year and a half out there. For you golfers, it's the lowest round of golf you'll ever play, 15 feet below sea level. But it's also a big Hollywood hangout. It's about 4 hours from LA, but there's a private airstrip there. So on the weekends for Sunday brunch, a lot of Hollywood types would come out there. I got to meet Kurt Russell.
Oh,
He and Goldie Hawn came in for brunch at the Furnace Creek in what's now called the Oasis. I went back there a year and a half ago. It's even more beautiful than it was before. It's just
yeah.
beautiful.
I've met Goldie Hawn. And
Oh yeah,
yeah, also, and she's a sweet lady. She
yeah,
really is. She's a very nice person in real life, instead
yeah,
overboard or whatever, laughing. Yeah,
yeah.
I just remember her from laughing years and then. Very interesting, Jen. We're going to have to do this again because we are coming to the end of the show. And I know it could go on and on because there's
I
so much
know.
to do. Uh, we want to give everybody a teaser. Do you know how the new company that you're going to be working for is making the announcement on Monday?
How they're going to make it?
Yes. Are
No,
they doing a
but
press
I will
release?
share it. I'm sure. I mean, I started on Monday. I received my marching orders a little bit earlier today. I already have an email address for the new company. But I'm sure people will know. Fortunately, I don't have to move. I guess it's the first time I don't have to move for a job, which is awesome because it's in the responsibilities of the job. I'm going to be part of the community still, which I'm very excited. I'm actually going to be part of the communities of Southwest Florida. So very excited about that. And yeah, they love Florida just as much as I do, maybe a little bit more. So it's a good opportunity.
You know what? Upward and onward, girl. I'm
Yes.
really, really proud of you, Jennifer, with all your accomplishments. And if you, the audience, has not purchased your book, how do they do that?
Well, they can go to solotravelgirl.com, and I have a link on there to purchase it. You can purchase it through my website. I'm using Gumroad, or if you prefer Amazon, you can purchase it on Amazon as a ebook or Kindle, or as a hard paperback book, or you can go to barnesandnoble.com and you can purchase it as a paperback book as well. But coming up in 2021, I will be publishing Solo Travel Girls 26 outdoor Florida getaways. And the reason why 26, because then in volume 2, I could do another 26. You put them together and you have 52.
Oh, so, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And Jen.
Yes.
As soon as COVID gets done and I get myself in shape, I'll be going out with you. We'll go do an adventure. Thank you so much for coming on, and be watching for on Monday. We did the teaser without knowing that she still has to wait for them to do the announcement about Jen on Monday, but we're really excited. A new year, a new start for 2021. Jennifer Huber, thank you so much for being my guest for the first kickoff show of the year. Hopefully 2021 will not even be in the rear view like we want 2020 to be, in the rear mirror. Yes. Looking back, I don't even want to look back here. Anyhow, you've been listening to Marie LaBrasse on WKDW 97.5 FM, Rural Community Radio. It's coming out of Northport, Florida. Listening to us on the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower. And Jen, always a pleasure. Whenever you want to come on, whenever you even want your own show, you're always welcome to come back. So thank you so much. And everybody, to the audience, have a happy new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie, and happy new year, everyone. Hey, Donna. And by the way, I'm wearing sparkles because, it's New Year's and new beginnings. And
oh, yeah, Donna Barrett. Happy New Year to you too, and the CDBIA, and to everybody that's out there. We're so grateful to have you in our community, and for all that you all do. Donna Barrett is one of the top leaders in the community. And let me do another shout out. I want to do it to COAD, that they are taking care of the immunizations, the registering for them, but also helping people that are really suffering now. And Angela Hogan, Denise Dull, and their whole team out there. Very grateful for you people of what you're doing for the community. So thank you so much. Talk to you later, and Happy New Year to you too, Wendy. Bye-bye.